Hello, welcome to my journey to the media world. Today I'm here to bring you a match preview of AFC Bournemouth versus Aston Villa in the Premier League tomorrow. Obviously the game is crucial for both sides as we are both in a relegation scrap. This time I'm joined by Sam from the Back of the Net Bournemouth podcast. Thank you so much for coming onto the channel. It's a pleasure to have you on the channel. First of all, just tell us a bit about what you do with the podcast and your YouTube channel and why people can go and check it out. The links will be in the description.
Hi, my name's Sam and I'm a podcaster and also YouTube content creator. Not a big fan of the word YouTuber because it's not ever going to be my living, but Bournemouth have been lacking so badly in having a YouTube channel. So as someone who had experience of doing a podcast for 3-4 years now, I thought let's bring this onto YouTube. And yeah, we've done the podcast since 2016, took a little bit of a break and then came back and introduced YouTube content at the same time, starting in August. And we've got over 1,000 subscribers already, which we're really pleased about, especially for a small club like us. But, you know, if anyone's interested in Premier League football, with an AFC Bournemouth slant, of course, you're welcome to subscribe. Just search Back of the Net Bournemouth on YouTube, or, of course, download the podcast as well. You'd be pleasantly surprised. Well, I hope so anyway.
I think that's great that you found a gap in the market there for Bournemouth content on YouTube, and we wish you all the best. Like I say, links will be in the description. If we move on to the game now, well, let's talk about Bournemouth first of all. What's been your overall opinion on the season so far? Obviously, at the moment you're sitting at bottom 3, so what's your opinion so far on the season on how it's gone?
My overall opinion of this season so far, not great. We've been consistently inconsistent. It's been not helped by injuries, but individually the players' performances have not been good enough. We haven't seen that attacking edge that we're used to seeing. It was usually a case of, well, you score 2, we'll score 3. But these days we're a bit more conservative with how we play. We're in a rigid 4-4-2, which doesn't really provide us any flexibility by the looks of it. And, you know, Ryan Fraser and Callum Wilson used to combine up front all the time, but Ryan Fraser's had his head turned through contract negotiations. Callum Wilson's form's dropped off a cliff. There are so many factors, and especially when you factor in the new players that have had to come together quite quickly, given the injury crisis, and learn a system. Philip Billing, Harry Wilson, Arnaud Danjuma, Diego Rico, Jack Stacey. There are so many different positions. Some of whom have combined and played in the same sides this season. And it's just not been flowing. So, you know, there have been players that we've been missing badly, such as David Brooks. Nathan Ake was out for a while. Josh King is still out. He's a huge miss for us. So many factors combined. Not so good. It's scary times.
And in terms of your current form, you've won 1 out of your last 5. Does that worry you at all, considering a lot of those games were against fellow strugglers?
Current form, we have, won 1 out of our last 5, and especially when we're playing teams around us like Norwich, Watford, West Ham, and we're not getting any points against them. That's scary. Managed to do it against Brighton, thankfully, and it was almost like Eddie Howe's job depended on it, but we really need to be picking up results against those teams. I think one of the reasons why we haven't is that they tend to deploy the low block in terms of being sat back defensively, and we really find it hard to break down teams. Case in point, aside from the Brighton match, who are quite an expansive side under Graham Potter. We had up Arsenal on Boxing Day. We got a point from them, who have obviously they come at you, and then before that, wins against Chelsea and Man United. And you think, this can't be right. Why aren't you managing to dispose of the teams that are in and around you? Unfortunately, it hasn't happened, but we're going to need to do it against Villa on Saturday in what I think is an actual must-win game.
In terms of Villa form, apart from we've had a pretty decent January, apart from the 6-1 thrashing against Manchester City. Of course, you're not going to play Manchester City every week. We picked up some very important points. We picked up a point against Brighton, had a very good second half, which got us a point thanks to Jack Grealish. We then went on to Watford against another fellow struggler. We got a last-minute winner against Watford at Villa Park. Scenes at Villa Park. I think that will go a very long way in terms of our Premier League form. And then obviously we played the semi-final in the Carabao Cup and again got a last-minute winner. So I think there's a feel-good factor around the players at the moment, and hopefully that can go a long way for the rest of the season. Talking about current form and, the last game, last time out for Bournemouth, you played Brighton, another one of those teams in and around you. You got a very important win, a 3-1 win in fact. How much do you feel that will help the Bournemouth players in terms of their confidence ahead of the Villa game tomorrow?
Of course, the Brighton match is, we started off really poorly after the first 25, but then something clicked into gear. We had a chance and the game seemed to turn on it, and it was like watching the Bournemouth of old. And players, I think confidence will have been coursing through the veins of our players at that point, and it's only going to bode well for the Villa game. Of course, I think Aston Villa's antics in the Cup in midweek, conversely, are going to possibly help AFC Bournemouth if there were any mental consequences where the players were thinking, well, this is going to be a relatively easy game. I don't think they would have been thinking that, but not so much if they watched that cup match against Leicester, where they'll know how good Villa were. They were dogged, they were determined, and then they got that deserved last-minute winner. I thought it was a brilliant performance by the Villa. Atmosphere seemed to be rocking at Villa Park. And yeah, I think players will be certainly not taking it as for granted as they possibly might have, which hopefully, for us, will be a good thing.
Obviously, it's very tight down there at the moment for Bournemouth. Do you see a way out of it in what could be a very tight relegation scrap?
I think the relegation scrap at the moment is between sort of 5 teams: Norwich, Watford, Bournemouth, Villa, West Ham. You could pull Brighton into that mix as well. So yeah, 6 teams. And then you've got a massive gap. And I think, Burnley and Newcastle, those kind of teams, but probably, despite horrible runs, have got enough of a buffer, really, for it not to affect them. I think Bournemouth will see a way out. Eddie Howe's had these adverse situations before and always managed to find a way. But I don't know, it's difficult when you sometimes see the team combining so badly. There have been some awful individual performances and basics that haven't been done right. I think the return of Josh King is going to massively help. Not necessarily against Villa, might be too soon. David Brooks also will as well. So as the games go on, we'll have more players back. But it's 14 to go. We're running out of time. It needs to start, and it needs to start now.
I think that's why it's so important that, both sides go there with a belief that they can win tomorrow and use it as a stepping stone for bigger and better things in their season. In terms of key men, in your opinion, who should Aston Villa try and block out tomorrow?
Key men in the Villa game, well, for Villa, it's Grealish. We're all worried about him. If we keep Grealish out, we've got a chance, given your lack of striking options at the moment. For Bournemouth, Callum Wilson recently is back on the goal sheet, which is nice, but I'd say the midfield maestro Jefferson Lerma, really strong player, and he'll be hoping that his midfield dominate the match on Saturday. Aside from that, Ryan Fraser, interesting interview earlier this week, saying that he basically admitted that he hasn't been trying as hard as he should have earlier this season. He's had his head turned by contract negotiations. That hasn't really gone down well with Bournemouth fans, so we're expecting a massive performance from him, and hopefully the Fraser of old, if it's anything like the Brighton performance in the league, then yeah, we'll be fairly happy.
You mentioned Jack Grealish there at the start. Yeah, very integral to what Aston Villa have done for a number of years now. The way he carries the ball, the way he dribbles. He had an excellent performance against Leicester City, and he's really carrying this Aston Villa team. Obviously the captain at the moment, and I think he'll be very important, like he's every game against Bournemouth tomorrow, in helping us get there. I think he's in the form of his life, and surely Gareth Southgate, I say it every video, will be knocking on the door. I'm going to go through Aston Villa's lineup, but first of all, do you want to go and predict your lineup?
My predicted 11 for the game, I think it's going to be Aaron Ramsdale in goal. At the back, we'll see Steve Cook and Nathan Ake, our main central defensive partnership, which is very strong. Adam Smith on one side, Diego Rico on the other side. Then in midfield, it'll probably be a 4-4-2. Callum Wilson and Solanke up front. And in the middle, I'm guessing it'll be Ryan Fraser on the left-hand side, Harry Wilson on the right, our loanee from Liverpool, and then Philip Billing and Jefferson Lerma in the middle. The beauty of having that kind of side is that we can sort of hybrid into a more attacking unit whenever we need to, almost like in a diamond shape. So hopefully that will happen. But
that sounds like a strong lineup, probably one of the strongest you can field. In terms of Villa's lineup, we've adopted a 3-4-3 formation, so I'm going to stick with the 3-4-3 formation. As always, worked very well this season since adopting it on New Year's Day. I'm going to go with Pepe Reina to come back in goal, obviously signed earlier on in the January transfer window. Having said that, Oyan Nealon did have a very good game against Leicester City, and it'll be harsh, but it's good that we got the competition. We go with the back three of Courtney House, Tyrone Mings in that central position, and Ezri Konsa. We're going to go with left back Matt Targett, linking up very well with Jack Grealish at the moment. Very inconsistent though. He has very good games, like amazing games, and then has a very average game. So be interesting to see what he's like after that tremendous night the other night against Leicester City. Right back, I'm going to go with Frederick Gilbert. Again, another attacking option. He came off against Leicester City. Smith said he felt a bit leggy. The midfield, I'm going to go with Marvelous Nakamba and Danny Drinkwater. I feel... Actually, no, I'm going to go with two midfielders. I'm going to go with Marvelous Nakamba and Douglas Luiz. Two very important players the other day against Leicester City. I'm going to go left wing, like we said, we've mentioned is important. Jack Grealish, super Jackie Grealish. Striker, I'm going to go with Ali Samata. I haven't really seen much of him. Played against Leicester City, struggled to get on the ball as much. We've got to give him time to settle in. He missed a sitter against Leicester City. Hopefully he can score tomorrow in his first Premier League appearance. Right wing, I'm going to go for his absolute scenes at Villa Park and beautiful back post goal. I'm going to go with Trezeguet to start on the right hand wing. I feel like El Ghazi will come in. At the moment, we're unsure. I'm recording this on deadline day of any incomings, but they won't be signed for Bournemouth. Very finally, Sam, could you give me a score prediction and anything else you would like to add about the game?
I'm predicting Bournemouth are going to win it. It's not going to be clean cut at all, but a 2-0 would be nice. Probably scrappy goals knowing us, but yeah. Safe journey down to all Villa fans. Remember, if you want to give us a subscribe to our channel, we'll be having interviews with a lot of Bournemouth fans and Villa fans too, so we'd love to hear from you. But yeah, safe journey down. Hopefully it won't be a good day for you football-wise, but apart from that, you have a top time down in Bournemouth. All the best.
I'm going to go with 2-1 win to Villa. I think we'll concede. Goal scorers, I'm going to go with Samata for his first Premier League goal, and Douglas Luiz with another goal, obviously scored earlier on against Bournemouth with an absolute cracker, but I think this time we'll be the ones that come out on top. Sam, thank you so much for joining me. Like I say, it's great that you found a gap in the market there for Bournemouth content. If you're Villa fans, make sure you go and speak to Sam if he's in and around the ground, if you're going travelling down to Bournemouth. Safe travels to Villa fans and Bournemouth fans heading to the game tomorrow. Hopefully we will be the ones that are cheering in the away end. Thank you once again, Sam. Till next time, goodbye. Up the Villa. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click here to watch them in full. Also subscribe. Subscribe if you're new so you can follow my journey into the media.